Welcome to episode 9 of the Purl Passion podcast. It's been, crazy 2 weeks. I've kind of been a little AWOL on Instagram for a while. I've been in and out, but I haven't been doing a whole lot of commenting and posting and stuff, but it's been crazy busy. I can't believe it's June. That's crazy. The weather is officially warm, and that's awesome, but at the same time, it's like summer's coming. Yes. As you guys know, my husband is a teacher, so June tends to be a stressful month in my household. You can really tell in my house when it's a stressful time for teachers when we drink Diet Coke or Diet Pepsi. Because my husband has this thing that when he gets really stressed out and he gets really busy and he's marking and working late into the nights, he likes to drink Diet Pepsi. So we're kind of both Diet Pepsi addicts, but we know that it's not good for us and that we shouldn't drink it. So we only buy it in times when he is working late and every night and marking and stuff. So the more stressed out he gets, the more we get to drink Diet Pepsi. So it's only a couple times a year that we stock Diet Pepsi in our house. So when we do, we enjoy it, but we try not to drink it any other time because we know it's not very good for us. But it's cold. But yeah, it's been a crazy 2 weeks. Like I said, my husband's been super busy, which means I've been super busy with the kids. Ellie's going to be 3 months tomorrow, which is crazy. I can't even believe that. It's just flown by. Like, I swear it was like yesterday that she was born, but she's already like changing her looks, and she always wants to be standing and sitting, and she never wants to lay down anymore, and she needs to be into everything, and she refuses to sleep half the time because there's too much other fun stuff to do. So it's like she's out of that newborn phase where they just lay and sleep around. They just lay, sleep, and eat and then go back to sleep. Now she's actually like up and having to be into everything, it's fun, but at the same time, it's like, please, I need a nap. Please sleep. Last night, if you saw my Instagram last night, I tried to get her down, and she woke up at about 2:00. So I fed her, and she fell asleep. So I put her in her bassinet. And as soon as I put her in her bassinet, she woke up and her eyes went, and she was just laying there playing and laughing. And I was just like, please go to sleep. I'm so tired. But alas, she did not. So yeah, that was fun. Another sleepless night for me, but it doesn't last long. Unless she's going to be like Alex, and then he still doesn't sleep through the night. He was up like 4 times last night too, so I don't know. My kids just don't like to sleep. I'm not really sure why. I got really bad hair today. If you guys don't notice. It's kind of like my everyday hair look. I just kind of stick it up in a half ponytail so that it doesn't touch the back of my neck because it drives me crazy. So yeah, this is my normal hairdo when I don't actually do anything for it for the podcast. So yeah, we're getting realness here today. Hair realness. I spent half the day today at the park with my kids, which was really fun. But yeah, it was really hot. Like, it was like, we went at like 9:30 in the morning, and it was like 22, 23 degrees then. So like this afternoon, I was like, I am not going outside. Because it's too hot. I was like, Alex, if you want to go to the park, we're going in the morning, because I don't like to go outside in the heat that much. But yeah, I was super excited. It's been 3 months now since I had Ellie, so I've been kind of starting to lose some of the baby weight, and I was super excited because it was coming off so much faster than it did with Alex, and I was starting to lose more and more of the weight. And I was fitting into some of my old clothes, so I got really excited today and decided that I was going to go try on some clothes and maybe buy myself some nicer loungewear that aren't like $5 Walmart extra large pants that I wore when I was pregnant. So I went to a nicer store today and tried on some stuff, and I made the fatal mistake of thinking, I'll try on the smaller size, because then if I lose a little bit more weight, then I'll be able to it'll still last me even if I lose a little bit more weight. So I was like, okay. And I tried on the smaller size, and it all looked gross, and I left, and I was in a bad mood, but it's all right. I'm over it now. I have to keep reminding myself that I had a baby 3 months ago, and it's going to take a while. It took me a year to get all the weight off after Alex, and I just need to cut myself some slack. And maybe stop eating almond ice cream all the time. That would help too, but it's delicious. So I want to let you guys know that my sugarcane pattern is available on Ravelry. My sugarcane farm hat pattern is available on Ravelry. This is it. I'm not going to put it on my head because it'll make my hair even worse. But yeah, this is my hat pattern. The proceeds for the first month after release are going to a girl by the name of Brittany, like I've said in many of my podcasts, but this is the last week to purchase the pattern so that all the proceeds will go to her. So please, if you're interested in purchasing the pattern, get it in the next week here so I can make that transfer into her GoFundMe page. I just don't want to have to keep sending payments all the time. So I wanted to try and save up and send one payment so that I don't have to keep making payments all the time. So yeah, if you're interested in the hat pattern, for sure, go get it this week so that I can make that donation to her GoFundMe page. And that would be awesome. She is, if you haven't seen my previous podcasts or saw my Instagram, she is currently in the hospital awaiting a heart bilateral lung transplant. And she's a knitter, and I just want to help support her because I know she's going through a lot right now. I kind of want to talk about something different today on the podcast that I don't normally talk about. I normally like to try and keep it knitting and keep it positive. But as you guys know, I guess it's June 1st now, but the month of May was Mental Health Awareness Month. And I guess I'm a day late, but that's okay. That's just how my podcast landed. But I kind of wanted to talk a little bit about my personal experience with mental health. I have been kind of inspired by a few really brave and strong women that I know of that I've seen in the past couple weeks put stories out there about their physical and mental health. And I just feel like the more we share our stories and the more we try and, make it a little more common and get rid of the stigma around mental health problems, the better off we'll all be. So I just wanted to talk a little bit about my personal experience. I don't want to generalize anything or speak about anyone else's experience. My experiences and my opinions are my own, and it's just my perspective. So I just wanted to talk about a little bit about my struggle with anxiety. So I basically have struggled with anxiety my whole life. I've always been an anxious person. I'm a perfectionist, and I put a lot of pressure on myself, and that tends to make things worse. For the past about 10 years or so, oh God, it's probably even more than that now. I've been diagnosed. Well, I guess I don't even remember what year it was. It was over 10 years ago now that I was diagnosed with generalized anxiety disorder. I was having panic attacks and went to my doctor. And my doctor gave me a prescription for Ativan and sent me home. So I started taking that every time I had a panic attack, and it was basically just making me completely, no, it wasn't Ativan. Adderall, sorry. No, Ativan, right, Ativan. Ativan is for anxiety. Adderall is for ADHD. I always get those two mixed up. But yeah, no, my doctor gave me a prescription for Ativan and sent me home and told me to take one when I had a panic attack. And that was basically it. They had no interested in helping me with anything other than that. So every time I would have a panic attack at work, I would take one and I would pretty much just be a zombie. Like I couldn't function when I took them. I was so tired. I couldn't keep my eyes open. I was basically a zombie. Like I was right out of her. And I took those for a while and tried to deal with just, being out of her, trying to, work through it, trying to function at work, even though I was kind of right out of her, but it wasn't going well. So I kind of ended up not taking them as often as I necessarily probably should have, but eventually I ended up in the hospital because I got myself into a panic attack and convinced myself that I was dying, and that I was having an aneurysm, actually. So I went to the hospital, and they kind of just looked at me, gave me an Advan, and they just said, "You're just having a panic attack." And I don't know, I cried because, there's a certain amount of embarrassment when you show up in the emergency room thinking you're dying and you're having a panic attack and they just give you an Advan and send you home. So I cried a lot. They sent me home, and that was when I got a referral to go see a psychiatrist. So I remember it was around Christmas time that I got in to see him. I had to drive quite a ways to go. And he did a consultation and prescribed me some drugs. When I first started taking the drugs, there were definitely some side effects. I was feeling like I had vertigo a lot. I was nauseous. There was definitely a lot of side effects, but eventually all those side effects went away and I started to feel a little better. And since then I've been on medication. Since then I've been on medication for the last, over 10 years. In that time, I've had 2 kids. I stayed on my medication through both my pregnancies, through nursing both my kids. I guess Dolly's only 3 months old now, but I'm still on medication now. I've had ups and downs, good times, bad times, times when I start to feel better and I think I don't need these meds anymore. And then I convince the doctor that I don't need them anymore and they take me off them. And then things get worse and I go downhill really quickly and they end up putting me back on the medication. So yeah, I don't know. I seem to have this stigma in my head that I don't want to be on anxiety medication. So the second that I start to feel better and then I feel like I'm doing better, then I try to get myself off the medication. I think, I don't need this anymore. I don't need this anymore. But I guess the reality of it is that I have an anxiety disorder and I'm probably going to need some sort of, well, maybe not medication for the rest of my life, but I don't know. I just have to get rid of the idea that, the anxiety disorder is just going to go away, because it's not. And I think that's the hardest part for me because when I was first diagnosed with anxiety, I thought, okay, they're going to give me some medication and all the anxiety is going to go away. Everything's going to feel better. I'm not going to stress so much. I'm not going to, obsess over things. I'm not going to, ruminate and obsess and constantly spend hours and hours overthinking things and, Googling things online and freaking out about it and convincing myself I'm dying constantly and the things that people do when they're really anxious. I thought, I'm going to take this medication. It's all going to go away and everything's going to be fantastic and I'm never going to be afraid again. But turns out that's not how it goes. I've been on medication. I've also been seeing a counselor for over 10 years. Couple different ones. Sadly, my first counselor retired and then I had to get a new one, but I guess that's how long I've been seeing a counselor. My first one retired. I lost my train of thought. I'm gonna take a drink. Completely lost my train of thought. This is what happens when you have a baby that doesn't sleep. But yeah, I guess with Mental Health Awareness Month, I kind of wanted to just share my story. I'm open about it. I don't hide the fact that I struggle with anxiety from anyone because I feel like the more people who know in your life what you're going through, the more people understand where you're coming from. And maybe if you're not having a good day, or you're quiet, or, something's wrong, then they can understand, and they know. Like, if you don't tell people what's going on in your life and you don't share with them, then are they just supposed to guess that you're okay, or guess what you're going through? Like, people don't know. So I kind of have the opinion that I'll tell anybody about my anxiety issues. Anybody I know, everyone I know pretty much knows about it. I don't keep it a secret. I don't hide it. I just feel like the more people know, the more people understand me and where I'm coming from. And if I'm kind of acting a little crazy sometimes, people are just like, oh, she's just, being anxious. Like when I spend, hours and hours at work checking the weather every 5 seconds because there might be a storm. And the girls I work with are like, oh, Megan's freaking out. Might be a tornado. Megan's freaking out. They just know it's, they have anxiety about the weather. And whenever we get thunderstorms or tornado warnings or, thunderstorm warnings, I freak out. I get anxious. I can't think about anything else. I obsess about it. And it's just the way I am. And the medication does help a little bit, but it doesn't take away anxiety. Everyone has anxiety, and I know that. And sometimes my biggest wish is that I just wish that I would be one of those people who was, I don't know, I'd just be someone who was completely brain dead, so that I wouldn't think about anything ever. I guess I spend my whole life overthinking everything and constantly obsessing and ruminating and thinking about things all the time, that I just wish that I was like dead from here. Completely oblivious to the world. But as much as I try, I can't be. I try to avoid things a lot that are triggers for me, which is pretty much everything, which is really hard to do. Especially this day and age with COVID and the pandemic. And I never know exactly what's going to trigger, me obsessing about things. It could be anything. Like, I could be watching a movie and all of a sudden something happens in the movie, and then I start obsessing about what happens if that would happen to me. And then hours and hours go by, and it's all I can think about. And it's just constant worrying and stressing about it, even though it's probably something that I'll never ever have to deal with in my whole life. So yeah, I try to avoid a lot of things. I don't like to watch the news. I try to stay away from, anything negative, really. I don't like to watch a whole lot of television or movies that are drama or negative, or I like to watch a lot of kids shows because I just find that there's a lot less things in it that trigger me, especially like almost like teen girl shows. Like Disney Channel shows from back when I was a kid, or Disney movies, or like those bad romance movies that everyone hates but secretly lots of people love. Yeah, I'm addicted to those because they're happy, they're positive. There's not huge issues that are negative. It's a small issue, and it's resolved at the end of the movie, and it's not something that triggers me into stressing about things. But yeah, I guess really I just want to kind of share that with you guys, and I hope that none of you guys are struggling. There's definitely been times in my life where I've struggled. There's also been times when I've done really well, but the good times are worth getting through the bad times. But I also feel like there's such a stigma around mental health that people don't want to talk about it, because, especially with anxiety and depression, because I feel like if you have a mental health disorder, people often don't hesitate to share whether they have things like schizophrenia or bipolar disorder, because those things tend to be more well known. They seem to be more thought of as an actual, it's just in my experience anyway, thought of as something that's an actual disorder or something that's an actual medical problem, whereas anxiety and depression are usually kind of thought of by people as just being something that's something that makes you weak, or something that, you can control, or something that, it's because everybody goes through periods in their life where they're anxious, or periods of time in their life when they're depressed. And that's normal. That's life, right? Things happen, and that's just, life. You can't avoid that. But having an anxiety disorder or having a depressive disorder is a little bit different, because it's something you can't really escape, and it's not situational. So when things get better in your life, it doesn't really necessarily go away. I guess that's the difference. But yeah, I'm going to stop talking about that because it's depressing, and it's not why you guys came here. I just thought that with it being Mental Health Month, and like I said, I was inspired by some other really strong women who have come forward and talked about their situation. If anybody else wants to talk to me more about it, I'm not going to talk anymore on this podcast, because I know that's not what you guys come here for, and that's not what you want to see. But if anybody else wants to talk more about it, or if you're struggling with anxiety or depression, or you just want someone to talk to, I'm here. Just remember that there's bad times, but the good times are worth it, and that you just got to struggle through the bad times sometimes. And then when you get on the other side, things look better. Things are always brighter on the other side. So yeah, let's get into some knitting, because that's why you came here. So yeah, I'm going to show you. I don't know if you can consider it a finished object, because technically it's only half finished because it's socks. But I personally consider one sock as a finished project, because there's a cast on and a cast off. So therefore it's finished. So really, a pair of socks is two finished objects in my mind. And I don't know, maybe that's just me trying to make myself feel better that I finished, something. But I finished one of my socks for my husband. So this is a sock that I knit out of yarn by Area 51 Fibers. And it is a self-striping sock, and the colorway is Diamond Sword, and it's Minecraft inspired. I think it's from her kids who inspire her to do Minecraft colorways, which I love. So yeah, this is a sock for my husband. And I did the Fish Lips Kiss heel, which you can find on Ravelry, and it's super cheap if you're interested. But yeah, I didn't do, I just used the self-striping yarn all the way through. I tried to find something that would work with it to do a heel and toe and cuff for a contrasting color or something, but I didn't really have anything that really went with it that I liked. So I just kind of stuck with the striped yarn throughout, and this is what the heel kind of looks like. And I kind of think it's cool, actually. I kind of think it turned out okay. I don't hate it. So I finished one of those socks for my husband. I love this color. This is the epitome. This is why I bought this color. This color is so vibrant, and it is the exact color of diamonds in Minecraft, which they're just so bright and vibrant, and it's such a pretty color. But yeah, so I finished that. That's really the only thing I finished. And I guess it's technically not even completely finished. But I did start the second one. And so yeah, for works in progress, I got a little bit of the second one done. So I started it anyway. I had to try and line up. I don't personally care about whether my socks match, because I really don't care. Me and my son could care less. We wear mismatched socks all the time. But my husband's kind of the kind of guy who likes matching socks. So I tried to line up to make sure that both socks are going to look the same. So I think I did a pretty decent job. I think it's a little bit off, because I think I ended up using a little bit of this color in the cast off on this sock, which drives me crazy, but I'm pretending it doesn't. So yeah, half the cast off was in one color, and then the rest of the cast off was in this color, which I was trying to go as far as I could without getting into the next color. And I just went one row too far, I guess, and I was just too lazy to take it out. But yeah, so I'm trying to make it look exactly the same. So I think I'm doing all right at it. But yeah, I'm still progressing on that. This has been my project that I've been working on at the park, because it kind of fits in my stroller cup holder, and I can just pull it out, do a couple rows, push my kid on the swing, push the stroller around. I think it's just an easy project to shove in the stroller when I'm going to the park with the kids. So if Alex is playing on the playground and Ellery sleeps, I can just sit there and knit away, which is awesome. And I've been able to do that a couple days this week, which I've been really happy about. I have so many drinks here. Like, you should see this table beside me. I got a cup of coffee. I had a headache before I started doing this podcast. And usually when I have a headache, it means I either didn't drink enough water or I didn't drink enough coffee. It's usually one of the two. I kind of like walk the line between caffeine and water regulation. It's like some days I drink too much caffeine and not enough water. Some days I don't drink enough caffeine. It's just, yeah, it's a guessing game for me. So yeah, I got coffee, I got pop, I got water. I got it all going on today. Well, yeah, I was going to talk about this. I guess this is a finished object, but it's not something I've finished recently, but it's still finished. So yeah, I showed a picture of this on my Instagram recently, and I just wanted to show it to you guys and talk a little bit more about it because I don't think I've talked about it on the podcast. This is a little sweater that I've knit. I knit, well, many years ago now. I knit it for Alex when he was a baby, but Alex wore it and Ellery wore it. So yeah, it's just a cute little sweater. But this is one of the coolest patterns I've ever knit personally. It's called the Baby Surprise Jacket. And it's knit in this really weird way that, like, it's knit flat. And then in the end, you just fold it. Somehow it goes from looking like a weird looking dishcloth. And then you fold it and sew the seams along the top. And then it turns into a sweater. Like, if you look like at the side here, there's like decreases in here. So it's like a really crazy construction. If you guys are ever looking for a super easy baby sweater, super easy, super quick, and a lot of fun, very little seaming. You just have to seam the top of the sleeves, but super cute. And especially if you're knitting something for a new baby, sweaters with buttons are where it's at. You definitely, my recommendation, if you're knitting a sweater for a baby, is to knit a cardigan type style sweater, not a pullover, because pullovers are very difficult to get on squirmy babies. So yeah, these kinds of sweaters are the best because they have buttons. Yeah, so I knit this for my son many years ago, and he wore it, and now Ellery wears it, but it's super cute. And the pattern is the Baby Surprise Jacket, and it's a pattern by Elizabeth Zimmerman, and it's many, many, many years old. Like, I think I even have a DVD that actually shows her knitting it, and it's just like a tutorial DVD on how to make it. I got it a long time ago, but it's many, many years old. I don't even know how old. I'm not even gonna guess but it's a very old pattern. Classic, we'll call it. It's a classic pattern. But yeah, I want to show you guys my work on my So Faded sweater. I've been working on that quite a bit. I got a little bit further than I was last time I showed you. So last time I showed you, I only had like the top part done. So now I'm gonna try and like it's still on my needle, and of course my needle is not very big. The cord of my needle is not very big, so it's hard to flatten it out and show you. But this is how it's looking. So this is the So Faded sweater by Andrea Mowry, and I am making it all out of Direwolf Yarn Co. yarn. I started with a color called Succulent. I don't think these two colors had a name because they were a shawl kit. But it goes from this like greeny color into a light blue. And then I've started into the kind of darker blue, light blue, speckly yarn. So I'm happy with how it's going. I kind of think that the transitions are a little more obvious than I had hoped. I think that's kind of always the hope with fades, is that they kind of fade so that you can't really tell that they're transitioning. But when you're working with, just stash yarn and you're just kind of pulling together colors that, you already have, it's kind of hard to make things work perfectly, but I'm really happy with it. I think it's really pretty. The next color I'm going to be fading in is, I'll show you, is Direwolf's colorway that she did for Valentine's Day. So it's called Toxic Love, and it had a skein that was inspired by Harley Quinn and a skein that was inspired by the Joker. So I just kind of split mine up because I decided I needed this yarn. So yeah, and I can kind of show you. I have my swatch. I think I showed you guys my swatch before, but I can show you again. And it looks like this. So I'm in this section here. So next I have to start adding in the pinky color, which is going to be fun. I can't wait. I must have done, like when I did my measure my gauge for it, I measured my gauge. I knew it was a little off, but I was like, it's going to be okay. So then I picked a size that I knew was way too small for me because I know currently I'm nursing and I just had a baby. And last time I was nursing and had a baby, I made a sweater and I measured myself just after I had the baby, and now the sweater is way too big. And it was always way too big, and I was always really sad about that after I lost all the baby weight because I was like, I really wish this fit me better now that, I love the sweater, but I really wish it wasn't so big. So this time I decided to go with a couple sizes smaller so that it would fit better when I lost my weight. Yeah, like I said, my gauge was a little off and it actually fits me now. It's a little tight, but it's not like it's gonna not fit well if I lose weight still either. Like it'll just be a little less tight because it's kind of like a tighter fitting sweater. But yeah, I'm super excited on how it's going. I'm gonna make it. The sweater pattern comes with instructions to make a cropped version or like a long or like a normal length long sleeve version. So I'm going to do the longer sleeve, longer length version. Just so that's something that I can throw on with like leggings and stuff because that's my life right now. So yeah, that's my main work in progress. Anyway, it's getting so large now though that it's starting to become a little cumbersome to try and knit it while I'm like holding Allie or nursing and stuff, which is pretty much when I do all my knitting. Pretty much whenever I get to knit, Ellie's sleeping on me. So it's getting a little cumbersome to try and knit it with her in my arms, but it's still doable. It's just harder. So yeah, I'm still working on that. I'm going to be casting on a new project. I was back and forth between what I wanted to do with this yarn, but I finally made a decision, and I'm going to cast it on pretty soon. I'll probably try and finish either the sweater or the sock first, and then I'll cast it on. But so I got this yarn from Stitchcraft and Wizardry. It is called Watermelon Crush, and they are a company from Australia. And it was super well priced, especially since I'm living in Canada, so it's a lot. It's really difficult if we want to buy yarn from the States because the exchange rate is so bad that we end up paying a lot for yarn or anything for that matter. But yeah, it turns out ordering from Australia has a way better exchange rate. And yeah, they have beautiful yarn. So if you haven't already, check out Stitchcraft and Wizardry because they're amazing. So I schemed it up, and this is what it looks like. And I love it. It looks like watermelon. It's like a pink, and it's got like black specks in it, and it's got the green in it. It's perfect. It's like a perfect watermelon color, and it makes me feel like summer. So yeah, that's going to be my summer project. But yeah, I decided that I'm going to make the Ripple Bralette pattern by Jessie May. I've made this pattern before and I love it. Previously I made it a bralette. This time I think I'm just going to extend it down so that it's just a longer tank instead of a bralette. She does sell a pattern that's like a camisole version of the Ripple Bralette, but I already have this pattern and I might as well just use this one and make it longer because I already paid for it, so I might as well just reuse it. So yeah, if you're interested, you can get that on her Ravelry page, or if you want the camisole one, you can buy that one too. But yeah, that is going to be my next cast on project. I'm excited to do that. I was kind of inspired by a friend of mine, Rhonda. She just cast one on too. So now I'm like, oh, I want another one. I was back and forth between this pattern and another pattern that's a similar tank that has buttons down the front. That's by Dragon Horde Yarns. It's called the Selkie Tank, I think. And I'm still going to do that pattern. I just think that I haven't decided exactly what yarn I want to do it with yet. I think I'm going to use some of the yarn that I've dyed. I'm not really sure exactly which one yet, but that'll probably be another project that I start this summer if I, get around to finishing all these ones. So yeah, I guess I should show you the yarn that I've dyed. I showed you a bunch last time, but I've since the last podcast dyed some more. So just kind of a recap. I bought 20 skeins of fingering yarn from Knit Picks. And it's Knit Picks' Fleechy yarn, which I've knit in like the Fleechy self-striping yarns before with Knit Picks socks for socks. And I really like their yarn, so I got that in the fingering. And I just got some food coloring and some Kool-Aid, and I just have a crock pot because I have white countertops in my kitchen and I'm really not careful with things and really clumsy. I dyed my hair purple once and my bathroom door upstairs in my bedroom is still purple. I don't know how that happened. So yeah, I don't want to get my white countertops all full of dye. So I bought a crock pot, like a used crock pot, and I just kind of put it on my kitchen table and dye yarn in there, which works really good. So far, anyway. I'm kind of just experimenting. I'm not a pro by any means, but yeah, I wanted to show you guys some of the ones that I made this week. So this week I was kind of trying, I was starting to run low on the food coloring that I had purchased. For the first couple of times I did dyeing, I used the neon food coloring. This time I just ordered the same thing from Walmart, but when I got it, it was the non-neon version. So basically I have a neon package and a non-neon package, but they have the same similar colors in them. So I kind of wanted to play around with what a skein of yarn would look like if you kind of made it like a tonal neon, non-neon color. So that's what I tried to do with these ones. So this one is neon pink food coloring and like a red, I used a little tiny bit of red just to try and make like a pink, like a non-neon pink. I think it turned out really cool. It's very watermelon-y color. And I love there's like the hot pink, and then there's like the lighter pinks, and then there's like little bits of like a redder pink in there too. But yeah, I think that turned out really cool. So that one was one that I was kind of playing with that. This one too, I did a blue one. So this is neon blue mixed with, not mixed, I kind of just like splattered both colors all over the place. So yeah, neon blue and then just normal blue. And that turned out really, really cool too. But yeah, I love it. And then I did the same thing with yellow. So I have neon. It's actually not neon yellow. It's actually neon green. But I realized that if you only put a little tiny bit in, it comes out yellow. So if you look sometimes, some spots where I was a little heavy with the neon yellow, it turns a little bit almost like a neon greeny color. But yeah, it's for the most part, it's yellow, neon yellow mixed with just yellow, like normal yellow, non-neon yellow. So like you can tell like the non-neon yellow is like more like a mustardy color, which is in here. It turned out really cool, and I really love it. That's my yellow skein. And then I tried to do one that was just a plain purple skein. So I love purple. Everyone who knows me knows that I love purple. It's my favorite color in the whole world. And if I could, I'd wear everything in purple for the rest of my life. I even want to dye my hair purple, but I don't want to have to go through the process of dyeing my hair blonde to dye my hair purple because that seems like a lot of work. And I'm scared my hair will fall out. So I'm not going to do that. But so I used just neon purple food coloring, and I was just trying to make like a solid color yarn because I kind of had been playing around with lots of different colors, but I'd never made like a solid color yarn. So yeah, I used a purple food coloring, and it was a neon purple food coloring for this one. And yeah, crazy things happened to it. I thought I was going crazy. I was sleep deprived when I was doing this, for sure. But I thought that was what was happening. I thought, did I throw like blue and pink and like red in here? Because yeah, I was like, there's blues in it, and there's like pinks and reds in it. Like I was like, I swear I just put purple food coloring in this. Why did it not turn out purple? But then I realized that I have someone on my Instagram who's a dyer who goes by Breaking Yarn. And she talked about once in a podcast I watched about how yarn can sometimes break and the color can separate into the colors it's made up of. So I was like, I think that's what I just did. So I messaged her and I was like, is that what I did? Like, is it a thing or am I going crazy? And she's like, no, that's breaking yarn. It breaks into the colors that it's made up of. And I was like, that's so cool. You learn something every day. But yeah, it ended up, I intended to make a purely purple solid colored yarn and ended up with not what I intended, but it's still beautiful. I love it. It's still got some blues and some neon pinks and some darker neon pinks over here that almost look red. But because it's a neon purple, I guess it probably would have been made a little differently than normal purple. But yeah, I think it's super cool. Not what I intended, but still awesome regardless. So the other one that I tried to do was I have a friend, my friend Rhonda, who is also making the Ripple Bralette. She is a good friend of mine, and I wanted to make her a skein of yarn. She was looking at my pictures and said that she liked the speckle one that I did with the Kool-Aid. So I decided to try and do a speckled one for her. So this time I decided instead of trying to do a speckle with the Kool-Aid, I was going to try speckling it with the food coloring and see what I could come up with. Because on all the other ones, the food coloring, I was just adding it in larger chunks, whereas this one I tried to do just speckles. So it turned out really cool. How I did it is I found I don't even know what you call it. I'm not a chef. I don't cook very well. Ask anybody. I don't cook. I'm terrible at it. If it wasn't for my husband, my family would starve. But I found we have this like brush in our drawer, and it's like rubber, and we use it to like put butter on things. I don't actually know what the brush is for. But yeah, it's rubber and it looks like a paintbrush, but it's rubber. But anyways, I got that out of the drawer and I was like, I wonder if I can use this as speckle. So I kind of like put a little dye on it and then just like went like this and like flung it at the pot. And this is what it ended up with, which looks really cool. And you can kind of see like in different spots, there's different colors. Some places the spots were, the spots ended up like spreading a little and going into different. This one's kind of hard to see unless I take it out, but you can kind of see that there's a spot. The problem with my method, turns out my method was very messy. So I inadvertently dyed like everything in my tiny room. So there were speckles all over my kitchen table, all over my floor. I'm pretty sure there was a speckle on Ellie because she was sleeping in her swing when I was doing it. I somehow managed to get blue food coloring on the bottom of my feet. So my husband the other day was like, there's something blue on the bottom of your feet. I'm like, oh yeah, that's just speckles. Don't worry about it. He's like, all right. So yeah, that's my speckle yarn for my friend Rhonda. So I'm going to get that to her. I just wanted to hold on to it until I could show you guys on the podcast just what it looked like. But yeah, I'll send that over to Rhonda after I skate it up better. I'm still terrible at this. Someone has to give me some like pointers. I'm terrible at it. I always make a mess. I always just make it look worse. If I really concentrate and try hard, then I can get it. Just okay. Spin, 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 spin. Spin, spin, spin. And then twist. It always takes me like at least 2 or 3 times to try and get it to look like anything that's even rather remotely presentable. That's good enough for now. I'll rescan it here before I give it to Rhonda so it doesn't look like crap. But yeah, the last one, I just had some dye left over in my pot from when I did the blue skein. So I was like, I'm going to try doing a little bit of turquoise. So I added a little bit of green food coloring. And then it was super light. Obviously, I didn't have a lot of dye left in the pot. There was just a little tiny bit of it that hadn't been absorbed completely by the blue skein. So then I realized that it was, didn't take the dye all that great, the turquoise. So then I kind of just like started throwing other colors in. I was like, I'm going to try and make coral. So I mixed up some colors and made like a coral color. And then that came out like that. And then I kind of started adding some different colors and came up with this, which was super fun. There's nothing more fun than just taking food coloring and like throwing it at yarn and figuring out what you come up with. Half the time I intend to do something completely different. Like hopefully I never like rely on the fact that I want a specific thing, because usually I'm trying for something completely different than I get. So it's like I intended one thing, but what I got was still pretty. It just wasn't what I was supposed to get. But yeah, that was kind of just like my one where I just kind of started mixing colors and chucking them in. I think it kind of looks like a sunset. It's pretty. It's got a little bit of turquoise, a little bit of purple, some coral. I was just playing around. But yeah, that's my last one that I had dyed. I still don't know what I'm going to do with all this yarn. I only got 4 skeins of my 20 pack of yarn that I bought from Knit Picks. I only have 4 left. I got a couple of skeins that I got for Christmas that are bare yarn. I think they're DK, so I'm going to get those out and do them. There's 2 skeins of DK too, but I got them for Christmas from my in-laws, so I'm gonna knit those. I just haven't decided exactly what color I want them to be yet, so I'm kind of saving them for the end until I can decide exactly what I want to knit out of them before I pick a color for them. But yeah, I don't really know what I'm gonna do with all this yarn. I kind of like amalgamated some of the bookshelves in my living room and just shoved them all in like the entertainment center for now. But they can't really live there full time forever because they're just, I don't really know where to put them. So I'm going to have to do something with them. I've been playing around with the idea of opening an Etsy store, and I know a couple of people have suggested that I do that, and it's a good idea, and I would love to do it, but because I'm on mat leave right now, I'm not supposed to really be making, well, I can totally do whatever I want, but if I make an income, I kind of have to, it makes my maternity benefits messed up. I have to then start claiming income to the government, and then they start taking some off my maternity benefits. So yeah, it gets complicated. So I don't really want to start an Etsy shop and start selling yarn right now. Although once I'm not on maternity leave anymore, that's definitely a possibility. I'm still as obsessed with dyeing as I am right now. But I do still think I'm going to move forward and get some more yarn. I think I'm going to get another thing from Knit Picks of 20 yarn, but I think this time I'm going to go with worsted so that I can make some winter sweaters for my family this winter with dyed yarn, which would be really cool. I can get my family to help me pick out colors for them, and we can all have nice winter sweaters for Christmas or something. So that'll be fun. But yeah, I think I'm going to get some acid dyes. I really like using the food coloring, but I feel like I want to play with the acid dyes too because they're a powder, and I know I had a lot of fun with the powder food coloring, but you just get so much more variety with the acid dyes. But the problem with the acid dyes is that I've been using a crock pot that I had bought secondhand and my crock pot for my kitchen. And I know that if you use acid dyes, you can't then use that crock pot again for cooking. So I won't be able to use my crock pot for my kitchen. And my other crock pot that I have is leaking, which is not good. It's all rusty and leaking, and I got it secondhand for free. So I'm going to have to, if I get acid dyes, I'm going to have to invest in some more used crock pots or pans and a burner or something because I don't want to, use I don't know. I just feel scared to go into acid dyeing because I feel like food coloring's forgiving. It's like, you get it places, it's all right. It's not, acid dye. It's just food coloring. You can eat it if you want. It's a lot safer around my kids, and I don't know. But I kind of feel like if I want to venture into selling yarn, I don't know. I just feel like it's not really very professional to sell yarn that's dyed with food coloring. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments what you guys think. Would you buy yarn that's dyed with food coloring? I haven't exactly washed it 100 times. I washed it all out and made sure that the color didn't run, and I used vinegar to make sure that the color was absorbed and that it didn't just come out. But I'm not exactly sure. Maybe someone else can chime in on this in the comments too, on how food coloring stands up over the test of time once you wash it time and time again, whether the color fades or not. I'm not sure whether it does, but would you guys be willing to buy yarn that was dyed with food coloring? Does that matter to you? Would it be something you would just maybe pay less money for, or I'm not sure. Let me know what you guys think, because I don't really know what I'm going to do with all this yarn. I definitely know that I'm going to do a giveaway on the podcast here sometime soon. So probably some of it will be in the giveaway, the ones I decide I can part with. The ones I'm not going to knit with. But yeah, I'm not exactly sure what I'm supposed to do with them. Save them up and start selling them when I'm not on that leave. But yeah, that's really all I have to show you guys. I appreciate you sticking around. Maybe some of you didn't after my boring talk about my mental health struggles, which that's fine. I don't mind. If you don't want to listen to my story, that's okay. I don't take any offense to that in any way. It's not riveting in any way. I just thought that because, mental health month was, last month, I just thought maybe my story will help someone. Maybe it won't. But doesn't hurt me to tell anybody, so might as well do it. It's a little more intimidating to tell the internet and YouTube, to tell these things to the world possibly, than it is to just, tell the people in your lives. But so I was a little nervous about it, but I don't know. I guess if it helps one person, then it's worth it, right? Or if it helps eliminate the stigma in any way, or shed a little light on the fact that people can have anxiety disorders and still be successful members of society. That's often what I get when people find out that I have an anxiety disorder, is that they're like, you don't seem like you do, or you seem fine. I don't, they kind of don't believe me. I have a full-time job. I'm successful in my career. I have 2 kids. I have, some knitting patterns. I've been kind of knitting and doing that on the side. Like, it seems like I have my life together, kind of. So people don't really believe me when I tell them I have an anxiety disorder. So yeah, I just kind of like to shed light on the fact that there's lots of successful people out there that still struggle with their mental health. And just because, it seems like from the outside that people are doing well, it doesn't necessarily mean like they are on the inside. So yeah, I'm not going to talk about it anymore. I could probably talk about mental health forever, but I'm not going to talk about it anymore. I just wanted to let you guys know to take care of yourself. Self-care is important, and have a good couple of weeks. And I can't wait to show you my sew-faded sweater and hopefully my finished socks next podcast. That will be awesome. I have some yarn that I purchased that I'm super excited about. I don't think I've ever been this excited about any yarn I've ever bought. From Gauge Dye Works, I think is their name. It is, I'll tell you about it when I get it. It's coming in the mail hopefully soon, and when I get it, I'll tell you about it. But I'm super excited. It's a representation of the solar system. My husband teaches, and he likes teaching science, and my son is 4 but obsessed with the solar system and space. So I got 2 skeins, and I'm really excited to get it in the mail and check it out and knit with it. So yeah, when that comes in the mail, I can tell you more about it. But for now, I'm gonna say goodbye because I've been talking for a long time, and half of it was about non-knitting stuff. So if you stuck with me, I appreciate it. If you like my podcast, you can click the subscribe button down below. You can click the like button too. Give me a thumbs up or thumbs down if you don't like it. Yeah, let me know. If you don't like this podcast and me talking about mental health problems, please let me know in the comments below, because I'd just be interested to know whether or not that upsets people. I know that people come to listen to me talk about my knitting projects and yarn, but how do you guys feel about podcasters talking about other things other than yarn on knitting podcasts? Send me a message in the comments and I'll read them. But stay safe. Have a great 2 weeks. Hopefully we've got some warm weather coming. Enjoy the warm weather. And I will catch you guys in 2 weeks. Later.